Hello and welcome to another simulation session. In this session, I am planning to execute on 10 trades in gold and I am planning to hold those swing trades. I am planning to get the accuracy of my strategy. That's why I am doing this simulation. So today is 18th of April and I am planning to execute on to 10 trades and going to our trading time. All right, this is our trading time at 1300 hours. Now first of all we will anticipate what prices will do and how I can execute an amazing trade for today. All right, starting from weekly. Today is Wednesday, and if I look at daily, the previous daily candle broke below previous daily low and closed back way back inside the range. This is like 300 pips of move, and today I am anticipating sells for prices to go into 1922 areas based on daily time frame. But if I look at H4 time frame, I can see that a support is created at 1945 area, which essentially means that in order for prices to move in bearish direction in line with the trend, we need to create a resistance somewhere in this area so that I can execute sell to potentially retest the lows. So that's the whole thing I am looking at. I am only looking at sells probably in this area in 1950 areas or somewhere in here in 1951 areas or 1961 areas to execute sells. I am not looking at any other thing. I am only looking at sells. Now we need to wait. We need prices to close in our favor. I am essentially waiting for some sort of resistance formation in 1951 area in order to execute sells. And if I look at hourly time frame, I can see that the 4 hourly candles moved up 1 2 3 4, which essentially means that the trend is heavily bullish, at least shorter time frame, a shorter term trend. But I am considering this as a retracement in a downtrend and I will essentially execute a sell position. So I need to wait for M30 candle on the least scale to execute sell. If I look in here, this is like 21 pips of stop. M30 and H1 is open, so I can't execute a sell. I am waiting for 30 minutes to close. Alright, at this point hourly candle has closed. It has closed a strong bullish candle. I am only looking for sells. I am planning for prices to drop in this 120 pips of range. As I am looking for sells, for that I want M30 candle to close bearish. Although this trade is very tempting, but if I look at H1, the range is very small. So as this simulation session is based on swing trades only, so that doesn't make any sense to execute buys. Alright, M15 candle is about to close. There is no information in M15 candle, waiting for M30 candle to close. M30 candle has now closed and it has closed a bullish candle. So now if we break below this area by placing a stop loss of 60 pip, we can continue to push in this 80 pips of range, or something that I can recognize. And if I look at news, today is 20th of April and Now the issue is there are oh, all right, that is CAD news essentially. But still I am only looking for sells, and I will be waiting for M30 candle to at least close bearish, and then I can execute sell. Alright, M30 candle has closed bearish, H1 has already also closed bearish. Now there are two probabilities at this point. Number one probability is that we can drop straight. This is like 100 pips of move. And the second probability is that we will do a fake out above 1955 area, and after that fake out or stop hunt we can push down. But as I have waited for this trade for so long, I have waited for this trade for 3 hours almost. I will execute a trade by placing a stop loss of around 50 pips. I am essentially planning for prices to drop in this 50 pips range, and if the volume is with us we can even continue to push down till 1940 area. So at this point I only have two things in my mind. I will first of all manage my risk if things go against us, and the second thing that I need to do is to make sure that I get the most out of that move. So that are the things that I need to focus on in this trade. So I am essentially planning that if we drop, there is nothing to the left, and there is very high probability for prices to push down in this 95 pips of range. So I will be managing my risk based on M30 candle. If the prices break above M30 high, that is where I will close half, and I will let the rest run. So it went in essentially 40 pips. That's where I should have taken some percentage of my position off, but I didn't. So essentially I will just stick with my initial plan. Alright, at this point if I look at it, is up around 34 pips, and there is a support around 17 pips away, and I don't know. So at this point I will only close 10% of position, and place a stop loss above current M30 high. And if yeah, at this point, wait a second, I was planning to execute 50% to exit 50% of this position at this support area at 1945 area. Yeah, I want to exit 50% at 47 pips I have secured, and I am letting the rest run to hit this 50 pips of take profit. But on the other hand, I am also looking at some price action that market present me that will force me to exit my position early. Alright, if I look at the previous M30 candle which closed with no wick at the bottom, which essentially means there is little to no range for prices to move down, so I will break even my position. And the M15 candle has closed bullish, but I am okay as long as we are respecting the current M30 high, and I will just wait. I will let my break even hit. Alright, at this point we have broken above previous M15 candle high. which is a sort of a concern. The reason is that let it close. All right. Now, first of all, there are few things that I would like to mention. H4 candle has closed with a rejection. I will take this as a rejection candle. And H1 candle has closed with a wick. I will take this as a wick fill, and I am anticipating that we will do a wick fill to the downside because the major trend was down. I am anticipating down move. So that's why I took my chance. I already took 47 pips in profits, around 190 US dollars, and I am risking the other half percentage of my position to hit take profit at 90 pips till 1939. But there are also some concern based on M30 time frame that the M30 candle has closed with no wick at the top, so there is probability that I can get stopped out on, which is very small of course, and on the other hand there is also probability that prices will drop till 1940 area. So I will stick with sells unless something happens which force me to exit my position. M15 candle closed bearish, and there is probability for the next candles to keep pushing in the downward direction. Now if we break above current M30 high, the trade is technically over. Alright, M30 candle has closed. It didn't break below previous M30 low and it is bearish candle. There is still probability for prices to drop, but that probability has dropped as compared to right here. But I will stick with my plan and I will be calling it a day if that doesn't work out. Now the M5 candle break below this rejection area and closed back inside the range, which technically means that I am in a trouble. So I will close another 50% of position, and my stop loss is already at break even. Yeah, I got stopped out. So technically I took around 300 US dollars from this trade, and it went in like 500 US dollar profit, and I hit a break even of around 200 US dollars. That's okay. That is the cost of doing the business. And I will not execute any other trade. I am still anticipating sell. If I get some confirmation, I may execute sell. And M30 candle closed bullish. H1, still there is very high probability for prices to drop in this 100 pips of range, and if we break below this area I should execute a sell based on M15 time frame, but for that we need to break below M15 candle. Other than that there is no trade for me, no buys. If we break below M15 low, I will execute sells. Other than that, no trade. Yeah, there is no trade for me. Alright, now I will just call it a day. I closed 75% position at 46 pips, and that's it. Now we will head back to a next day. So market decided to consolidate. Alright, we are now at 1300 hours. First of all, look at news. There are news today, and now the range that I was anticipated was already almost filled. So I need to wait. Today I am looking at some sort of stop hunt to the upside so that I can execute a trade. If prices decided to drop straight, I will not execute a trade. Yep, prices decided to drop straight, so no trade for me. Now is 1500 hours, and usually the 1500 hour is high volume event, and now I need to focus on. Alright, this is the news event, and I'm looking at if I get some sort of resistance in this area at 1947 area, I may execute sell. Other than that, I will look at some other things. So for now, I am just waiting for candles to close. Alright, H1 candle has closed, and H4 candle has closed with a rejection. There is probability we will fill this entire range, which is 100 pips away. So now I am planning my buys based on yeah, I need to wait a little bit in here. And now the candle M5 is breaking above previous M15 high, and there is very high probability that we have 1 and 2 M30 strong big body candles, and there is a probability that we will get another big body candle for a potential take profit of 46 pips. My stop loss will be around 24 pips, so I will execute on this trade idea. I will be placing my buy stop somewhere at 1950, placing a stop loss of 38 pips, but I will be managing my risk. If we break below this M5 candle, I am not anticipating prices to break below this M5 low if we are to move up. Alright, 15-minute candle has closed. It has closed a small body candle. And yeah, now if we break above this area, there is no point for prices to break below M15 low. If they do break below M15 low, I will be executing sells at that point. Now I need to be very careful. Alright, M30 candle has now closed, M15 candle has closed bearish, and in these 30 minutes we didn't break above this area, which is a big red flag for me. And for me, the buys are technically altogether over. I will not execute a buy, but I will execute sells below 1945 area by placing a stop loss of 40 pips. I am not executing buys. I will only be executing sells below 1945 area. Oh, yeah, let me settle that stop loss. Sell stop right in here. 43 pips of stop. I will be okay with. Now now we break below M5 15 low, M30 low. Now there is no point for prices to break above this M5 high, which is around 24 pips. If prices go against me, I will be closing everything in 24 pips. Other than that, I will just hold this position. And all right, now M5 candle has closed bullish, but still I'm gonna hold this trade because these 30 minutes are very highly volatile. So I am anticipating a move either in the upward direction or in the downward direction. If prices go against me in this 21 pips, I will be closing my entire position. Other than that, I will hold this. Wait a second, yeah, I need to modify my stop right in here, and I need to let it run. Now M15 candle is about to close. If M15 candle doesn't do a significant move to the downwards, and now we are breaking above this consolidation. So essentially the sells are also over, closing 75% of position because it doesn't make any sense to hold on to this trade. Now the M15 candle has closed bullish. I am gonna close everything. So today I lost around 37 US dollars, around 5 pips on this trade. Yeah, that's it, and that's all. Now if the M15 candle is closing bullish, if we break above this M15 candle, can I execute buys for prices to essentially move in this 75 pips of range? Yeah, the idea seems valid and I will execute onto that idea. So this variation in theme where we consolidate and start to move in the downward direction later on is new to me. I haven't seen this sort of pattern in a while, so I need to take a lot of notes regarding this variation in theme. Maybe it happened because prices decide to range at this point. Other than that, I can't see any reason why it will not go down. So this is an important variation theme which I will of course study later on, and that trade we took essentially went in 39 pips profit, but essentially I will be closing that trade somewhere in here around 25 pips. So at this point I will not execute any other trade in gold today. So we will just move forward. Maybe it happened because we were at the lows, at H4 lows, so I will take a careful notes on this variation of theme. Moving on to the next trade and the next day. All right in here. So we move down in one big H1 candle. So of course it is not a trend, which essentially means that we can move up from this area. So we just need to wait and oh my god. All right. At this point, there are few things that I would like to mention. First of all, we know that the trend was bearish. I was anticipating a big move to the downside. That move didn't happen on Thursday and on Wednesday. We basically consolidated, and if I look at daily, there is probability that we can move in this 200 pips of range. So now, and there is another point. In H4 we were consolidating from previous 3 days, so maybe I was a little bit anticipating that we can continue to range in this range. We will continue to this range will continue to hold and we will continue to range. So now we moved it down and I came on charts right in here. If we break below this area, because if I look on to the previous H1 candle, it seems to me like the range is already, the move is already done. and we are not moving down. Even if I execute a sell trade below this area, there is probability we can move in this 50 pips of range based on volume, based on M30 price action. So I will be executing sells. Although I have seen the outcome of this trade, but this trade is still valid, and I am pretty much sure that if I was on my real and a live environment, I would have taken this trade. So in this trade, stop loss is around 50 pips. Stop loss is around 30 pips, and TP was around 43 pips. But something happened and we moved down with so much volume. So as something happened which I don't know of course what happened, we moved down, and I am still anticipating that we will move down in this 100 pips of range, but M5 candle closed with no wick at the top, and if I look at H1 M1 candles, we already moved it down around 100 pips. Trade is in 80 pips profit. So now I need to close majority of my position because we are already way up from our anticipated targets. Alright, now the hourly candle has closed. If I look at hourly, there is very high probability that we can continue to push down. So if I get another chance, I will execute another position. Now the M15 candle has closed below that area. What's the probability that we can continue to push down without breaking this M30 high? What's the probability? There is very high probability, and I will be executing onto that. If we break below M15 low, I will be executing sell position. Now that trade idea is valid as we have broken above M15 high. Now the M30 candle has closed. If again we break below that area, I will again execute sells. Now the M30 candle has closed with a small body. H1 candle has closed with a very small body, which is a big concern, because even if I execute sell in here, the range is only 18 pips, and yeah, those cells doesn't make any sense at all right now. But I will execute with a very small position, 0.1. If we I have to wait for a few minutes. Yeah, I will now execute. Stop loss is huge, 55 pips, 40 pips. This trade is very tricky and very risky. That's why I didn't execute onto this trade with my full risk. What is happening? Now the M15 candle has closed bearish. We are also breaking below previous H1 low. What's the probability that we will move 85 more pips to the downward direction? The probability is high now. Now wait a second. I need to readjust my stop loss. Actually, once this M5 candle has closed bullish, there is no point for prices to break back inside the range if we are to move down. That's where I will place my stop loss now. And for the second position, that's my stop loss also. And yeah, that's it. But we moved up, so technically I got stopped out around 13 pips, which is pretty good because initially my stop loss was around 40 pips. I will still execute sell if M15 candle closed bearish and the next one break below M15 low. But that doesn't make any sense because we have broken above that area. So now there is an entire range for prices to fill, which is 130 pips. So I need to find a way to execute onto this trade setup. M15 candle has closed, it has closed bullish, and as their H1 candle has rejected around 100 pips from the bottom. So I am anticipating that we will get a retest of 1936 area before moving into buy direction. So I will be waiting for that retest. Now here comes the deal. So the trend was heavily down. H4 candle has closed strong bearish and I will execute sells at all cost. It is very important to execute this sell by placing a stop loss of 48 pips. The prices should continue to push down in this 55 pips of range. If that doesn't happen, I will be okay with that. Alright, wait a second. Our trade is in now in 27 pips profit. So I need to hold this trade at all cost. I shouldn't exit on this trade. And also if the prices come back to break even point, I will exit my position. Some percentage of position at least. Now we are at break even. Now right in here, as I can see that prices start to consolidate, I should have lower close like 10% of position. Put SL at break even. That's what I should need to do. And oh my god, I wasn't anticipating this up move. Now I will just wait to see what happens. Wait a second. I want to execute a sell right in here by placing a stop loss of around 31 or 28 pips for prices to keep pushing down in this 56 pips of range. But if I look at M30 time frame, we are stuck in this zebra range. So that will not make any sense, but I can execute with it with a very small lot because I am not going to execute. If we are to move down, we should have moved down on the previous M30 candle. I will not execute any more position. I am just calling it a day. Interesting move to the upside, and if I get some confirmation in M5 time frame, I will be executing that buy trade. Now if we break above current 15-minute high right in here, I am planning to execute buys. Yeah, it make entire sense, but now the issue becomes the stop loss is 40 pips. There is no way I can manage or lower my stop on this trade. Wait a second, actually I did a mistake in here. I should set up a stop loss little bit above, like 1 to 2 pips. Yeah, right in here. Now the trade is still valid. Now the M30 candle has closed bearish, but some probability that we will drop in this 100 pips of range, assuming that, yeah, it make entire sense to execute onto this trade, but I will wait for a little bit and I will execute once we break below the lows. Break below the lows and I am in. Yeah. The stop loss is around 50 pips initially, but if we break below this area and move back inside the range, that's where I will be closing 50% of position, and I am planning to hold this trade for around 40 to 50 pips, and that will be my last trade for today. Let me look at oh, I have got around 65 pips essentially, so close it, call it a day. I have took only 5 trades, and I am essentially calling it a day because I have a sore throat and I can't speak a lot. I am closing this entire position and I will look at how far market goes. Yeah, it broke below that area and I was pretty much sure of that. So I took 5 trades. My target was to take like 10 trades, and if I look at 4 of them, I don't I haven't written down the outcome of trade number 4, and I don't know where I executed that trade. Yeah, that was 100 pips. No, I need to. That trade was taken right in here. Right in here. That was probably plus 20 pips, 10% of position, and rest break even. And yeah, that's it. So I have taken 5 trades. 1, 2, 3 of them were profitable, 1 were break even, and 1 were minus 5 pips of loss. No major losses today. Around 150 plus 40, around 200 pips up for the week. And yeah, that's it. I'm calling it a day, and I will see you guys next. Until then, take care, have fun, see you.